The commander thought he knew warfare, until he saw what a modern AI could do with simple steel. What kind of armor is this? The commander's eyes locked onto the drawings and stayed there. He recognized the scale armor on the first design, the overlapping plates, the fish scale pattern. The second was something he had never seen before, but the coverage alone told him it was extraordinary. "Your Highness, is this for me?" "No," Zhao Su said. "It's for all the soldiers." The commander went quiet. In great song. Armor like this was reserved for generals. Common soldiers were fortunate to wear a padded jacket sewn with scattered iron plates. Equipping an entire force, every man, with what was on these blueprints was beyond anything he had imagined possible. "Your Highness, if the prince's guards all had armor like this." He shook his head slowly. "This humble general could conquer the grasslands." "Don't make promises while you're still in bed," Zhao Su said with a smile. "We'll talk about conquering grasslands when you're recovered." The commander laughed, then winced sharply as the movement pulled at his wounds. Zhao Su gave him a few more instructions and left him to rest. The infection had cleared. With wounds like these and no leg injuries, the commander would likely be on his feet within a week, fully mobile within 2. Heading toward the ordnance department, Zhao Su nearly walked into Doctor Who coming the other way, medicine box in hand. The physician's eyes lit up the moment he saw him. "Your Highness, this humble official has a request." "You want the medicine?" Zhao Su said. Doctor Who nodded quickly. "I have 3 patients, swollen, infected wounds, fever. All of them close to the end. I want to try your medicine on them. It would also confirm whether it truly works as it did for the commander." Zhao Su looked at him for a moment. The man was being rigorous. He still half suspected the commander had simply pulled through on his own strength. That was fair. "All right." He called Fenger over. "Give Doctor Who a jar." Fenger took Doctor Who to the central courtyard. When the lid of the large vat came off, the physician's eyes went wide. "Miss Feng, give me more, please. Just a little more." "Doctor Who." Fenger's voice was pleasant and completely immovable. "His Highness said 1 jar. The jar is full. That is what you're getting." Doctor Who tried age and dignity. Fenger covered the vat, thanked him for coming, and walked away. He stood there looking after the departing vat with profound regret. He collected himself, went back to treat the commander, left a prescription, and returned to his clinic, where he immediately called in the 3 fever patients and administered the medicine internally and externally, matching the dosage he had observed used on the commander. At the ordnance department, the new blast furnaces were taking shape. These were not the experimental unit from before, larger, built for sustained production, designed to run continuously. Day and night, without stopping, Zhao Su told Wang Ying. "The armor for the prince's guards cannot wait. June is nearly gone." Wang Ying held the armor blueprints. He had already been told what came next: scale armor, plate armor, swords, spears, shields. The volume required was enormous. Under the old methods, a year wouldn't have been enough. With the new blast furnaces, he believed 2 months was achievable, given sufficient raw materials. They walked from the furnace site down to the Luzhong River. "Do you know what a water pestle is?" Zhao Su asked. Wang Ying smiled. "A device built along a riverbank. Water flow turns a wheel. The wheel drives a hammer handle up and down, used by common people to thresh grain. And blacksmiths hammer iron in a similar motion." Wang Ying's brow furrowed. Then his eyes opened. "Your Highness, you mean to use water pestles to forge iron? Enlarge them. Put a dozen forging hammers along the river, running day and night on water power. The plates for both armor types require extensive hammering. This hydraulic forging hammer removes that bottleneck entirely." Wang Ying stood still for a moment. Then he slapped himself on the side of the head. "How did I not see it? How did I not see it?" He gave up trying to answer his own question and looked at Zhao Su with an expression of complete, uncomplicated admiration. Zhao Su understood the feeling without needing it explained. Ancient people were not lacking in intelligence. They were often lacking only in direction. The water pestle had existed for generations. Gunpowder had existed for generations. Both had been pointed at the wrong targets. A small adjustment in purpose and tools that had been decorative became essential. The Luzhong River runs fast, and the Ordnance Department sits right along it. Using that power would be straightforward. I'll say no more. This humble official understands completely. Wang Ying bowed. I'll have the carpenters begin on the hydraulic forging hammers immediately. He paused. Your Highness, with so many tasks running at once, I'm concerned about manpower. Zhao Su had already thought of this. This prince will send you 200 more people, and call back the teams digging for limestone in the mountains. I'll handle sourcing materials separately. Wang Ying exhaled. Thank you, Your Highness. Chapter 52, Part 2. From the Ordnance Department, Zhao Su rode to the Yin County Merchant House. The powerful families had established a proper headquarters for the association, a two-story building on the west bank of Golden Scale Pond, directly across the water from Tianshan Brothel. It made a certain sense. The location was central, pleasant, and well-suited for receiving out-of-town merchants who came to negotiate orders. As Zhao Su arrived and looked up at the building's plaque, a voice called out, Your Highness, what brings you here today? Dong was coming down the steps, face brightening immediately. Delang, Zhao Su said in greeting. Dong moved forward with a bow. His father had been monopolizing every opportunity to appear before the Yin Prince for days. Being outmaneuvered by his own father was quietly infuriating, but arguing with an elder wasn't done. Finding Zhao Su here now, without his father present, felt like compensation. He ushered Zhao Su inside, into the seat of honor, calling for tea. Word of the Yin Prince's arrival spread through the building quickly. Yang He came down from the upper floor with a grin, and several other young men from the powerful families appeared shortly after. Since handing over their family landholdings, none of them had fields to inspect or estates to manage. Their families, finding idle sons underfoot, had sent them all to the merchant house, partly to give them purpose, partly to keep them out of everyone's way. Dong caught Yang He's approach and stepped in smoothly. Your Highness, what brings you to us today? Zhao Su looked around the room at the powerful family sons, watching him with barely concealed eagerness. They were too idle. The merchant house currently dealt in ice and wine. Not enough activity to keep this many literate young men genuinely occupied. And idle, literate young men with money and no direction were exactly the kind of people who cause problems in a city. He set down his tea. This king intends to transform the Chamber of Commerce into an official agency under the prince's manor. The room went very still. A commercial establishment becoming an official agency. No one had ever heard of such a thing. But the Prince of Yin had a way of producing ideas that sounded impossible right up until they worked. The young men leaned forward almost in unison. The profits your families receive from the Chamber of Commerce will not decrease, Zhao Su continued. What changes is that some of you will be selected as staff officials of the Prince's Manor, formally managing the Chamber of Commerce, overseeing its business, and executing the Manor's decrees. The intake of breath was audible. These were young men who had failed Lu Fu's selection process for government positions. Frivolous and unfit for office. That had been the verdict for more than a few of them. Their families had sent them to the merchant house partly to give them something to do, and partly because there was nowhere better to put them. Now the Prince of Yin was dangling an official position in front of them. Dongin's face was doing something complicated. As the legitimate eldest son of the Dong family, losing his shot at officialdom to a branch family nephew had been a deep humiliation. His father had stopped trusting him with important meetings. This was a chance to recover everything. Yang He had his own version of the same wound. Lu Fu's words had kept him awake for days. He had wanted to hit Lu Fu every time he saw him since. What happened next happened very fast. Yang He made a sound that was somewhere between desperation and resolve, rushed forward 3 steps, and dropped to his knees in front of Zhao Su, wrapping both arms around his leg. Your Highness, please entrust the Chamber of Commerce to this humble official. I will make it prosper and earn your Highness a fortune. Su Lai had his hand on his saber. He relaxed it when he understood what was happening. Dongin stared at Yang He for 1 full second. Yang He's shameless. His Highness hasn't agreed to anything. And how dare you call yourself this humble official? He dropped to his knees and grabbed Zhao Su's other leg. Your Highness, This humble official greets your highness. The rest of the room watched in collective disbelief. Shameless, several voices said at once. Zhao Su looked down at the two men attached to his legs and said nothing for a moment. Lu Fu's evaluation had been accurate. Get up, both of you. Listen first. They exchanged a look, snorted at each other, and stood. 20-odd young men in the room. He couldn't give official positions to all of them, and he wouldn't. But looking at them, he saw something useful. Men who had grown up around commerce, who understood merchants, who knew how to drink with people and make deals. Not suited for managing the common people directly. Suited for exactly this kind of work. For fairness, this king will set a competition. The Ordnance Department urgently needs iron ore, limestone, and smelly coal in large quantities. Starting today, whoever secures the most of these materials at the lowest price within 10 days becomes master of the Chamber of Commerce, holding a 6th-rank position. Everyone else is ranked and assigned accordingly. Fair. Dong, Un, and Yang he said together, already calculating. Then one of the other young men raised his hand. Your Highness, wouldn't this just mean whoever has the most family money wins? Zhao Su had expected that. The purchasing silver comes from the Chamber of Commerce itself. Anyone who cheats will never hold a position here. Ever. He meant it. The Chamber of Commerce was not a decorative institution. In time, it would manage the commerce of all Yin Prefecture. The men who ran it needed to actually be capable. Jealous, Dong'an said to the room. Yang he rolled up his sleeves and faced the other young men with sudden competitive fire. This is real now. A genuine contest. Yang he, will not cheat, and I expect the same. Let's see who actually wins. Bring it on. Came back from several directions at once. Dong was already moving toward the door, then stopped. Your Highness, what exactly is limestone? Where does one find it? Zhao Su noted that with quiet approval. Everyone else had been thinking about the title. Dong had remembered he didn't know one of the things he was supposed to find. Go ask Master Wang at the Ordnance Department. He'll tell you. The room emptied in less than a minute. Zhao Su sat alone with the servants and smiled. For the next 10 days, the Ordnance Department's raw material problem would solve itself. As for limestone, there was no harm in them knowing about it. The mines weren't going anywhere, and without the smelting knowledge, the material was useless to them regardless. The technology stayed with the manor. Dong'an arrived home at a run and found his father in the ceramics workshop, supervising the production of wine jars for the manor. Father, your son is about to become a proper official. Dong Yuan looked up. His expression suggested he had heard similar announcements before, and they had not ended well. Don't cause me trouble, he said flatly, and certainly don't embarrass this family in front of the prince's manor. The sting of it was real. Dong Yuan's nephew, a branch family son, had been selected by Lu Fu and was now a county magistrate. That appointment had shifted the internal balance of the Dong family in ways that kept Dong Yuan awake at night. He had been working to recover that ground personally. His own son becoming an official would change everything. Dong'an took a breath and explained what had just happened at the merchant house. His father listened. His expression changed. His Highness said it himself, Father, just wait, I won't lose this time. Dong'an laid out everything that had happened at the merchant house, detail by detail. Dong Yuan listened in silence. When his son finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Dong, and with more seriousness than usual. His Highness has always been strict. I cannot help you with this. You will have to rely entirely on yourself. Dong'an's fists tightened at his sides. This time he would not lose. At the Yang family estate, Yang Cheng was chasing Yang He across the courtyard with a stick. You useless son, besides chasing women, what ability do you have? And now you come home telling me His Highness gave you a chance to become an official. Yang Cheng was winded but still furious. Among the three allied families, Dong, Yang, and Lu, only he and Dong Yuan couldn't hold their heads up comfortably anymore. Every time the three family heads met, Lu Ran's chin was practically pointed at the ceiling. With good reason. His son had joined the prince's guards, risen to captain, and brought the Lu family real honor. Meanwhile, the eldest sons of the Dong and Yang families couldn't soldier and couldn't hold office. The clan gossip had been brutal. Yang He scrambled up onto the garden rockery and shouted down, "It's completely true. I didn't make anything up. Go ask His Highness yourself if you don't believe me." The family steward appeared at the courtyard entrance and murmured something to Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng let the stick drop. He looked up at his son on the rockery with a different expression. "Father, may have misunderstood you." He cleared his throat. "His Highness has been looking out for you all along. If you lose this competition, don't come home." Yang He exhaled slowly from his perch. "Just watch." Across Yin City, the other young men were doing the same, arriving home to families who moved rapidly from skepticism to urgency once the details became clear. Zhao Su, meanwhile, had already returned to the manor. In the front courtyard, he summoned Su Yuan, Su Ku, Chai Wu, and the rest of the 16 who had walked the coal path weeks ago. They had spent the intervening time well-fed and rested. Their frames had filled out, the hollowness of their earlier hardship largely gone. "Your Highness." All 16 bowed. "Can you use us now?" Su Ku's eyes were already bright with anticipation. He had been feeling guilty about eating the manor's food without contributing anything in return. "I have something for you." Zhao Su smiled. "There will be cheating in this merchant house competition. I need you to find it." One of the others made a face. "We don't know what these people look like. We don't know their names. We don't know anything." "If you knew everything," Zhao Su said flatly, "there would be nothing to investigate. This is a small task. The work you'll eventually be doing involves life and death." Suka licked his lips. "In the mountains, I can track a wild beast from a single footprint. Finding people is simpler." Su Yuan put a hand on his son's shoulder. "Don't get overconfident. People aren't wild animals. Performance on this task determines who leads the team," Zhao Su said. He let that sit for a moment, then continued. "After this, you will officially operate as scouts, monitoring Yin Prefecture for this king." The mood in the courtyard lifted immediately. Chai Wu stepped forward. "Your Highness, I've heard the Northern D scouts belong to something called the Black Iron Guard. Should we have a name too?" Zhao Su looked at him. "Bold question. Fair one. Great Song, Western Liang, and the Northern D all maintained intelligence agencies. Covert forces that operated behind visible power, similar to the Ming Dynasty's embroidered uniform guard in the history he knew. Even the major powerful families cultivated their own versions quietly." He thought for a moment, then smiled. "The Flame Guard." The 16 looked at each other. "Fire is flame, it melts iron, meaning you will surpass the Black Iron Guard." He paused. "And after this first task, this king will teach you to make something called hot pot. You will operate restaurants openly, while gathering intelligence beneath the surface. Both fire and hot pot. Does the name not fit?" He let it settle, then continued. "With the hot pot shop as your base, you recruit, you gather information, you move freely. Open branches in other cities. Open one in the capital eventually. Fund your own operations through the business." Su Ku and the others stared at him. Chai Wu started laughing. The kind of laugh that happens when something is so clever it briefly short-circuits thought. "Hot pot," he said, still processing it. "We're going to be spies who run a hot pot restaurant." "The name is decided," Zhao Su said. He was in a good mood. He knew the hot pot base formula. Ceramic pots were readily available. The heat source was solvable, and the ingredients, while less varied than his own era, were workable. The restaurant cover was genuine enough to function and unusual enough to draw curiosity. Perfect concealment hiding in plain sight. He sent them off. The powerful family sons had probably already started moving. He wanted to see which of them actually had real ability when it mattered. At the Zhang family's fortified village outside the city, the prefect stood in the corridor, checked that no one was watching, and stepped into a concealed underground chamber. The room was stone-walled and close. At the far end, Tuoba Lai stood studying a painting of plum blossoms, unhurried. The prefect sat at the stone table and poured tea. "Chang Wei has 9 lives," he said, the regret clear in his voice. He actually survived. Tuoba Lai's contempt was barely contained. A defeated general from a scout skirmish. What is there to worry about? 200 of my Northern D nearly finished him. When the autumn hunting army arrives in full, Yin Prefecture will be a plaything. The prefect felt something release in his chest. He had been carrying a low-level worry for days. Hearing it dismissed so casually by the man who commanded the Northern D's intelligence operations made it easy to let go. Commander Toba is right. He had sacrificed the Huang and Du families to maintain his position and buy time. If the Yin Prince didn't survive the autumn hunt, that sacrifice would have been entirely worth it. Toba Lai laughed, a short, satisfied sound. Is the steel shipment ready? Ready. The Yuan family will send someone within a few days. Yuan Li asked for 1,000 warhorses in exchange. The arrangement had been running for years. The prefect as middleman, Northern D receiving grain, ironware, and cloth from the Yuan family. The Yuan family receiving furs and warhorses from the grasslands. The Yuan family had used those warhorses to build a crack cavalry force of 30,000. The profits on both sides were enormous. Toba Lai nodded with satisfaction. Resources on the grasslands were scarce. The Great Song's prohibition on border trade had created genuine hardship. The Yuan family arrangement had alleviated that and served a deeper purpose. The Northern D had deliberately helped the Yuan family grow from a middling, powerful family, looked down on by the 8 great clans, into a force second only to them. Inflating the Yuan family's ambition was part of the plan. A Yuan family hungry enough to carve out Yin province was far easier to deal with than the Great Song royal family directly. And the 160,000 Imperial Guard stationed at Yin Pass had been quietly weakened by Yuan family machinations for years, repeated memorials impeaching the Yin Pass generals, the Yuan family positioning itself as the natural defender of the pass. A Yuan family controlling Yin province meant the Northern D had a compliant partner at the border. Toba Lai was still running through the satisfying logic of it when he noticed the prefect's expression shift. The prefect leaned forward across the stone table. "Commander, I found some clues about how the night raid on the prince's manor was leaked." He lowered his voice and spoke into Toba Lai's ear. Toba Lai's expression changed completely. "Spies from the capital? Has the Great Song Court detected the trade between the Yuan family and us?" In the underground chamber, the candlelight moved unsteadily. Toba Lai's brows drew together. "We can confirm they came from a capital," the prefect said. "Whether they serve the imperial court directly, that I don't know. But something about Tianxiang brothel is wrong, and I wanted to ask if the commander had any knowledge of it." After Pang Kuen's death, the Zhang family had moved to absorb what remained of Qingfeng's stronghold. In the process, a surviving member, the third master, Songya, had offered information to earn some goodwill. He revealed that before the night raid, the second master had made a quiet visit to Tianxiang brothel. The prefect had then sent men to check the mass grave where the Qingfeng's stronghold dead had been buried. The second master's body wasn't among them. That absence meant something, and it pointed directly at the brothel. "I've never heard anything about it," Toba Lai said. His expression had gone flat. If Tianxiang brothel had been watching long enough, it might know about his arrangement with the prefect. It might know about the prefect's arrangement with the Yuan family. If those connections had reached the imperial court, everything he had built over years of careful work could unravel. The prefect shared the same fear, and Toba Lai could see it. Great Song was in decline, but its prestige along the border provinces remained real. Yin Province, Qin Province, Liang Province. The 9 frontier strongholds still held substantial imperial forces. Yin Pass alone housed 160,000 imperial guards. If this matter reached the court, the Yuan family, with its deep roots in the province, would survive by offering a scapegoat. And the scapegoat would be the prefect. He had not slept easily since receiving Songya's information. Toba Lai brought his palm down on the stone table. "I didn't expect a small prefecture like this to be so full of hidden players. First the Yin prince who actually has teeth, and now this brothel." He was quiet for a moment. "I'll transfer men from other commanderies to investigate Tianxiang brothel, find out who controls it and what it knows. If it holds our secrets, it disappears." The prefect felt the tension in his chest ease. Toba Lai's Black Iron Guard had operatives spread throughout Yin province, concentrated mostly in Fanyang, where the Yuan family was based, and in Ping Commandery to the east, where Yin Pass sat. A breach at Yin Pass meant Northern D cavalry could move south unimpeded, rather than relying on small raiding parties through mountain paths. One more thing, the prefect said, leaning slightly forward. The Yin Prince has been moving quickly. The commander should be aware. Tuobalai nodded. He had already picked up pieces of it. The Ordnance Department had been producing smoke at odd hours. Something was being built or fired inside, and no one had been able to determine what. A large number of government officials had gone into the countryside, which meant policy was being pushed to the village level, and that was unusual. And the story of Chong Wei's survival had reached him, a medicine derived from garlic, apparently effective against wound infection, developed by the Yin Prince himself. Added to the Tianxiang brothel question, the picture was becoming more complicated than he had anticipated for a border prefecture managed by a prince with no military background. It was time to extend influence directly into the Yin Prince manor. Zhao Su had barely returned to his bedchamber when he sneezed. Luaner was behind him, folding his outer robe. She looked up with a soft smile. "Someone is speaking ill of your highness." "How would you know that?" "Sleepless speech brings a sneeze," she said, perfectly serious. She moved to brush off his sleeve. "You're superstitious," Zhao Su said, and then caught himself. The word wasn't one that existed here yet. Superstitious. She blinked. "What does that mean?" "Believing in things without examining whether they're true," he said, covering. He'd slipped into his own era's vocabulary again. But Luaner's words had snagged at something underneath the lightness. The past few days had moved so smoothly, the merchant house competition, the flame guard, the ordnance department taking shape, that he had almost stopped feeling the Zhang family's presence at the edge of everything. The prefect was still out there, still watching, and Tianxiang brothel, he still didn't know who truly stood behind it. Luaner saw his expression shift and felt a spike of alarm, afraid the madness had come back. She rushed forward to check on him. Her foot caught her own skirt. She fell directly into his arms. For a moment, neither of them moved. Her hair had come loose across her face, and she looked up at him from very close. Zhao Su felt his pulse move. Luaner's body seemed to forget how to work. She wanted to pull back and couldn't quite manage it. "Luana!" Cough, cough. They both looked toward the door. Fenger was leaning against the frame with an expression of pure entertainment. Luaner shot out of his arms like something released from a bow and pressed herself against the far wall, face crimson. "Sister Luaner, I had no idea," Fenger said, with a completely unconvincing air of innocence. There was nothing. Luaner's hands were moving in frantic denial. "I didn't say anything." Fenger's smile was enormous. "We're all His Highness's people. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You are shameless." Luaner turned and fled. Fenger couldn't hold it anymore and dissolved into laughter, barely staying upright against the doorframe. She meant no harm. They were close as sisters, and if anything happened between the Yin Prince and Luaner, Fenger would be genuinely happy for her. It would only bring them all closer. Zhao Su pointed at Fenger and shook his head. "You." "He." She was still laughing. "Your Highness, please don't blame your servant. I only happened to be passing by. If your Highness is displeased that Luaner ran away because of me, this servant is willing to make it up to you." She looked up at him then, and her eyes had gone slightly soft, less mischievous than they'd been a moment ago. Zhao Su looked at her. This little troublemaker had been poking at him for weeks. He stepped forward slowly, placed both hands flat against the wall on either side of her, and leaned in. Fenger's breath caught. Her usual bravado flickered. Up close, she found she couldn't quite hold his gaze, the sharp brows, the clean lines of his face, the way he was looking at her. For all her boldness, she had never actually been this close to anyone. Something unfamiliar moved through her chest. She closed her eyes without meaning to. "Knock, knock." Luaner's voice came from outside. "Your Highness, Doctor Who is here and requests an audience." Fenger's eyes snapped open. Zhao Su stepped back. He looked from Fenger, face now fully flushed, to the door where Luaner stood, poorly suppressing a smile. He scratched his head. Flirting in this era required entirely too much coordination. He pinched Fenger's waist on his way past, flicked Luaner lightly on the cheek, and walked out. After he was gone, Luaner pointed at her own face and said, "Sister looks very shy." Fenger willed her heart to slow down. What's there to be shy about? We were prepared by the Empress for His Highness from the beginning. Serving him is our duty. She said it with complete composure. But something had shifted inside her that she couldn't quite put back where it had been. She had served the Yin Prince since childhood. She had thought of it as exactly that: service, closeness, affection without weight. Just now, she had discovered there was weight. In the front courtyard of the prince's manor, Doctor Who wrung his hands and bowed. "Your Highness, this humble one has an impertinent request." "Speak freely, Doctor Who. I simply need a few more jars of the medicine Your Highness prepared." After taking the first jar back to his clinic, word had spread faster than he'd anticipated. He had planned to treat 3 patients. 6 more had arrived and refused to leave, kneeling in his medical hall until he agreed to try. Zhao Su had braced himself for news about the commander. When he understood what Doctor Who actually wanted, the tension left his shoulders. "Take as much as you need. If it saves lives, consider it charity." Doctor Who's relief was visible. He bowed deeply, followed a servant to the inner courtyard, and left with 3 full jars. Zhao Su watched him go with quiet satisfaction. He was confident in Allison's properties, but watching Doctor Who test it systematically on multiple patients would remove any remaining doubt, in his own mind and in others. Let the physician experiment. Back at his clinic, Doctor Who found the injured waiting for him. "Doctor Who, please." "I have it. Whether it saves you depends on how your bodies respond." He set his apprentice to work immediately. Medicine applied to wounds, a measured dose taken internally, 3 times daily with 3 hours between each treatment. Exactly as the Yin Prince had specified. The next morning, he examined all 9 patients. One middle-aged man still had fever, but slightly lower than the day before. Doctor Who checked the others. 4 of the 9 showed measurable improvement. He continued the treatment for 2 more days. By the 3rd day, 6 of the 9 had broken their fevers. Their wounds had begun to close and heal. The remaining 3, those with the most severe injuries, still ran temperatures, but even they had improved. Doctor Who stood in the middle of his clinic and could not speak for a moment. In his experience, of these 9 patients, perhaps 3 might have survived with his conventional methods, the ones with lighter injuries and stronger constitutions. The rest he would have watched die, one by one, from wound infection. That was simply the reality of practicing medicine in Yin Prefecture. What he was looking at now was something else entirely. "Miraculous medicine," he murmured. His hands were trembling slightly. He had been conscripted into army service during the previous year's Northern D autumn hunt, pulled into the military medical corps while Yin Province burned around him. He had seen what Northern D arrows did. The arrowheads were dipped in filth before battle, a deliberate practice. Soldiers who took an arrow anywhere that wasn't immediately fatal frequently died in the days that followed, the wound turning septic regardless of treatment. He had thought of that when he first saw the commander. 3 arrows, wounds already festering in summer heat, clearly struck by Northern D. He had said what he believed, that it was up to fate because he meant it, and then the Yin Prince had saved him with garlic. Doctor Who raised both hands toward the ceiling and let out a sound somewhere between a laugh and a cry. Then he sat down, picked up a brush, and wrote a letter. When he finished, he called for his apprentice. "Li Jun, ride to Yin Pass in Ping Commandery. Deliver this to your martial uncle." Today, Li Jun was gone within the hour, hoofbeats fading down the main road north. Ping Commandery sat adjacent to Yin Prefecture, roughly 300 li from Yin City to Yin Pass. Li Jun arrived in a day and a night, pushing hard. The walls of Yin Pass rose ahead of him like something grown from the earth rather than built upon it. Thick stone, high parapets, soldiers in bright armor moving along the top. The sight produced a reflex of solemnity even in someone who had seen it before. General M.O.D. commanded Yin Pass. He was past 50, from a military family with generations of service behind it. His hair had gone gray, but his face was still ruddy and his frame was enormous. A man who still ate 3 full bowls of rice at a sitting and moved with the energy of someone half his age. He had distinguished himself in the northwest against Western Liang forces, his banner enough to make enemy units disengage before contact. When Yin Province's situation deteriorated, the court had sent him here as the anchor. Li Jun stated his purpose at the gate and was admitted. In the medical officer's yamen, he found his martial uncle, Li Xingjian. Li Xingjian had once shared a clinic with Dr. Hu. Last year's war had pulled him into the military medical corps, and he had stayed. Dr. Hu, calling himself a free spirit, had remained in Yin Prefecture. Li Jun handed over the letter. Li Xingjian read it carefully, thick brows lifting once. The letter covered the usual pleasantries first, then turned to recent events, the commander's recovery, the 9 patients, the results after 3 days of treatment. At the end, Dr. Hu asked his junior brother to request the medicine directly from the Yin Prince and test it on the wounded soldiers at Yin Pass to confirm what he had witnessed. Li Xingjian folded the letter. "This is not a small matter," he said. Northern D cavalry regularly tested the perimeter outside Yin Pass. The garrison sent out scouts in response. Soldiers were wounded every month, not in catastrophic numbers, but steadily, and the infected wounds took a quiet, consistent toll that added up over time. If what Doctor Who described was real, the implications for the garrison were significant. "Wait here." Li Xingjian took the letter and walked to the general's mansion. He found MOD in the garden pavilion, reading, his large frame relaxed in the afternoon shade. Li Xingjian saluted and explained the matter. MOD looked up from his book slowly. The Yin Prince's secret medicine, truly that effective? His eyes sharpened. Nonsense. Impossible. Senior brother does not fabricate. Li Xingjian held his ground calmly. He trusted Doctor Who. He held out the letter. MOD took it and read. His expression changed. "This Prince of Yin is quite interesting." MOD set down his book and nodded slowly. He knew the story. The 9th Prince, considered a fool, pushed off to Yin Province by the Emperor. He had heard about the recovery from madness too. Yin Pass generals had little to do between engagements besides circulate court gossip, and this particular story had made the rounds thoroughly. From being completely unknown, the stir he's creating keeps growing. Yuan Li even went to visit him personally. MOD looked at the letter again. For this medicine alone, this old man should make the trip. Li Xingjian said, even setting aside the medicine, "You should go, General. The Prince of Yin is a royal prince. Having him as an ally could at least complicate things for the Yuan family." MOD nodded. The MO family had served the royal family for generations. He harbored no ambitions of his own, only the quiet, persistent anxiety of a man responsible for a past that, if it fell, would open great songs interior to Northern D cavalry with nothing to stop them. The Yuan family's maneuvering in Yin Province kept him watchful. Their repeated memorials attacking his fellow commanders, their positioning as Yin Pass's natural defenders, he trusted none of it. If the Prince of Yin proved to be a man worth the name, he would write to the Emperor afterward. Yin Prefecture and Yin Pass working in coordination could form a genuine defensive anchor for Yin Province. He made his decision. In Yin City, the summer heat pressed down without mercy. Zhao Su had changed into the thinnest robe he owned and was still sweating. He found himself missing modern clothing with a specific ache. A simple tank top and shorts would have solved everything. The one consolation was that when the maids helped him dress, the angle of view occasionally rewarded patience. Luiner's cheeks were faintly pink as she worked. Whether from the heat or from his gaze was unclear, though Zhao Su had his suspicions. He withdrew his eyes with a satisfied expression. Luiner smiled despite herself. This had become familiar enough to carry its own rhythm. The Yin Prince's shamelessness, her own shy response, the unspoken understanding between them. Finger came in swaying slightly, carrying 2 letters. From the capital, Your Highness. She spotted that his robe wasn't fully secured, picked up a belt without comment, and wrapped her arms around his waist to fasten it for him. Zhao Su took the letters. He had sent word weeks ago through the Dong family riders to Guanzhong in Jinling, asking him to use Liang Cheng as a channel to reach the Emperor, and to let Consort Me know her son had recovered. A reply now made sense. He opened Guan Zhong's letter first. 10,000 taels had gone to Liang Cheng, with a promise of ongoing benefits. In return, Liang Cheng had sent a servant to the Merchant Guild with a commemorative plaque, a small but visible gesture of association. With Liang Cheng's name attached, the guild's position in the capital was more secure. As for the emperor, Guan Zhong's report was that Liang Cheng conveyed no edicts or statements had been issued. Zhao Su exhaled quietly and opened the second letter. There were tear stains on it before he read a word. Consort Me had written to say that since Zhao Su had left for Yin Prefecture, she had gone to Xiangwu Temple regularly to pray. Learning her son's illness had healed left her with no more regrets. She asked only that he govern carefully and love his people. She spoke of the perennial visitation day, when mother and son might meet again. And, at the end, this is also what your imperial father hopes. Zhao Su read the phrase twice. It was specific. Zhao Hong had visited Consort Me and spoken of Zhao Su, and had added that line deliberately, knowing it would reach his son through her letter. A message delivered without being a message. Plausible deniability in both directions. At the end of the letter, 2 more lines were addressed directly to Feng'er and Luana, instructions to take good care of the Yin prince. He showed them. Both girls' eyes went red immediately. He tucked the letters away and walked out. Zhao Heng's calculation was legible enough. He wouldn't publicly declare support. That would invite the Yuan family to act immediately. But through Consort Me, he had signaled that he was watching, that he was not indifferent, and that he wanted the Prince of Yin to hold his ground. If Zhao Su grew strong enough that the Yuan family couldn't simply remove him, Zhao Hong would then feel safe enough to acknowledge him openly. A bitter laugh escaped him. This emperor had survived on the throne for decades while powerful families squeezed him from every side. Of course, he had developed instincts for operating without showing his hand. Zhao Su let the thought go. 12 royal princes. Only he had a real fiefdom. The others clung to the capital, backed by powerful families, circling the question of succession like crows over a carcass. Whatever emperor emerged from that would be someone else's instrument. What others saw as a punishment, exile to a bare northern prefecture, he saw differently. What is poison to them is medicine to me. He straightened and walked toward the archway, where Lu Fu was waiting. They had agreed this morning to ride out and inspect the countryside. One village had already had the new land policies implemented: tunnel construction, militia training, land redistribution. He needed to see with his own eyes whether the prefectural yamen officials had done what they were told. Outside the gate, Su Lai had Zhao Su's horse ready. They rode north through the city and out through the north gate into open country. The air changed immediately, cooler by a degree, carrying the smell of water and green things. After weeks inside the city walls, it was disorienting in a pleasant way. "Your Highness, this is your first time outside Yin City," Lu Fu said, gesturing with his horsewhip toward the tree line in the distance. "My beautiful country," Zhao Su said, and meant it more than it sounded. They followed the main north-south road, then turned along a stream running northward, passing through trees, rice fields, ponds, and smaller waterways. The landscape was genuinely pleasant in the summer light, green and full and alive. They arrived at Fusher Village. 500 households, Lu Fu said as they dismounted at the field edge. The fertile land around the village was all exchanged from powerful families by the manor. The rice was planted on schedule. The seedlings stood in bright green rows across the paddy fields, already vigorous. By November, this would be a harvest. Zhao Su looked at it for a moment with quiet satisfaction, then walked toward the cluster of thatched houses at the village center. His arrival had already been noticed. Children in groups of 3 or 4 peered at him from behind willow trees, wide-eyed and uncertain. Zhao Su looked back at them. Their clothes were rags. Some were almost nothing. Every one of them was thin enough that the shape of their ribs showed clearly through their skin. Something shifted in his chest. "Go on, play over there." As Zhao Su walked toward the children peering at him from the willows, a group of villagers came hurrying from the direction of the thatched houses. At the front was an old man who shooed the children off and came forward with a bow. Village head Feng Zheng greets His Highness. Please rise, old man. Lu Fu had sent word ahead the previous day. Feng Zheng had been waiting. Your Highness, Feng Zheng was elected by the villagers themselves. Most respected and virtuous in the village. He handles local disputes and day-to-day matters. Zhao Su nodded. There was an old saying in great song. Imperial power does not reach the countryside. Officials manage towns and cities. Rural areas were left to local gentry, who collected taxes on behalf of the government and used that position to control the common people entirely. The gentry answered to the powerful families. The common people answered to no one who cared about them. He had dismantled that system in Yin Prefecture and replaced it entirely. Since the land was now the prince's manors, and the people farming it were the manor's dependents, there was no longer any need for local gentry as middlemen. The manor dealt directly with the people. The gentry's function had been abolished. Village heads were now elected by the villagers, not appointed by powerful families. Each received a monthly salary from the manor, was audited annually on their administrative record, and could be removed for poor performance. 5 village wardens assisted each head, overseeing daily production, and each commanding a unit of local militia, defenders in wartime, peacekeepers in peacetime. These are the 5 village wardens, Lu Fu said. 5 young, strong men bowed together. How are the tunnels progressing? Zhao Su asked. Feng Zheng gestured for him to follow and led the group into the village. The rice planting is finished, so the villagers have time now. When the royal tutor sent instructions about the tunnels 2 days ago, everyone took to it enthusiastically. Every household is already digging. Zhao Su stopped in front of a low courtyard enclosed by a wattle fence. Through the gap, he caught a glimpse of a woman quickly shutting a door. A man came out instead, looking faintly uneasy. Feng Zheng noticed and spoke quietly. Your Highness, please don't take offense. Some families here have several members, but only one pair of trousers between them. Whoever needs to go out. He left the rest unsaid. Zhao Su stood with that for a moment. He had known Yin Prefecture was poor. He had seen gaunt faces in the streets of Yin City. But this, a family sharing one pair of trousers in Yin County itself, the administrative heart of the prefecture, was something else. If this was the situation this close to the city, he didn't need to imagine the outlying areas. I never expected my people to be living like this, he said quietly. Lu Fu, who had grown up poor and known this his whole life, said gently, Your Highness was raised in the palace. This is new to you. But once the harvest comes in this year, things will change. Feng Zheng's face broke into an anticipatory smile at the mention of harvest. With only 10% rent taken by the manor, once the rice comes in, the villagers will have more than enough to eat. They can sell the surplus, earn a few taels by proper clothes. He grew happier as he spoke. One of the village wardens added, There is not a single person in Yin Prefecture who doesn't feel grateful to your Highness now. You've given everyone something to look forward to. Before, life felt like it had no point. Zhao Su's mood lifted. In his previous life, he had been an ordinary person himself. And what ordinary people wanted in any era was simply hope. Give them that genuine, tangible hope, and they would give everything in return. The next thatched cottage had a fall stove hiding a tunnel entrance. The owner, a father and son, stood against the wall looking terrified. Your Highness, this humble one has been digging day and night. I haven't been lazy. Zhao Su laughed. I'm not blaming you. Take your time. Dig well. The relief on their faces was immediate. They had worked the Du family's land before. Tasks undone had meant beatings. The Yin Prince's calm manner left them genuinely unsettled by its unfamiliarity. He looked into the tunnel briefly, still shallow, just beginning to take shape, and moved on. The same pattern repeated through the afternoon. Village after village around Yin City showed the same picture. Basic organization in place, tunnels started, planting underway, militia units forming. Not finished, but moving. By evening, as they turned back toward the city, Zhao Su felt something he hadn't expected. Peace. Not the relief after a crisis, but a quieter thing. The sense of a direction confirmed. Lu Fu, well done. Lu Fu shook his head with genuine feeling. This humble official only carried out your highness's orders. Without the manor's land exchanges and the Chamber of Commerce's silver, none of this countryside could have been put in motion. At least you know it, Su Lai said from behind them. Lu Fu turned to retort. Zhao Su smiled. The two of them had been trading barbs so regularly by now that silence between them would have felt wrong. He was still smiling when Su Lai's voice changed completely. Your Highness. Zhao Su turned. On the official road ahead, dust was rising in thick rolling clouds. The sound of many horses carried on the evening air. Thousands of troops moving toward them. Your Highness. Everyone went tense at once. Su Lai was already moving. Your Highness. You and Lu Fu returned to the city immediately. This humble general will investigate. He led 100 guards forward at a gallop without looking back. Before Zhao Su could speak, Lu Fu had cracked a whip against his horse's flank. The animal lurched forward and carried him down the road, whether he intended it or not. Lu Fu rode close behind. Our lives mean nothing, Your Highness. If something happened to you, Yin Prefecture would have no future. They rode and watched over their shoulders. Su Lai's men blocked the approaching column. A brief exchange. Then Su Lai turned his group around and came back at a trot. They pulled up and waited. Your Highness, it's General Mo from Yin Pass. He has come to pay his respects. Something lit in Su Lai's expression that Zhao Su rarely saw there. When he and the commander had served in the Imperial Guards, MOD had been one of the generals they genuinely admired. They had even privately discussed, in the darkest days of the prince's manor, whether to defect to his command at Yin Pass. MOD. Zhao Su breathed out. The Mo family were royalists through and through. Generations of service to the royal family, no personal ambitions, no factional maneuvering. But what was MOD doing in Yin Prefecture unannounced? He rode north to meet the column. The old general came into view at the front. Past 50, hair-grayed, but the kind of physical presence that announced itself before a man spoke. Behind him, over 500 cavalrymen in red inner garments and black armor. MOD dismounted before they closed the distance and went to one knee. This humble general, MOD, greets His Royal Highness, the Prince of Yin. Zhao Su was off his horse immediately, taking the general's arm and bringing him up. The contrast with Yuan Li was immediate and complete. Yuan Li had arrived with implicit threats, wrapped in pleasantries. MOD knelt without being asked. General Mo's name has reached this prince long before today, Zhao Su said. I have regretted not meeting you sooner. Your presence in Yin Prefecture is a great honor. MOD studied him as they spoke, the composure, the directness, the youth of him against the confidence. He nodded to himself. This was a stroke of fortune for the royal family. The emperor, in his irritation, had sent this son north to disappear. Instead, the willow had taken root and was growing. This humble general has come to trouble your highness with a request, MOD said. This is not the place for a detailed conversation. Come into the city, general. Allow this prince to act as host. At the manor, Zhao Su ordered Finger to have a banquet prepared. The commander, hearing that MOD had arrived, came to meet him despite his wounds still healing. Chang Wei. MOD looked genuinely pleased. You're here as well. It is this humble general's fortune that the general still remembers him. The commander bowed. MOD laughed. Remember? When you were in Western Liang, you were known for fighting without any regard for your own life. It's a pity you weren't under my command. You would have had a place at Yin Pass. The commander's expression softened with something like nostalgia. Now that this humble general serves His Highness, I am content. Perhaps this is what they call losing one road at dusk and finding another at dawn. MOD stroked his beard and smiled. Zhao Su waited until they were settled, then asked directly, May this prince ask the purpose of your visit? Is it the Northern D autumn hunt? It was the only reason he could think of for an unannounced visit from the Yin Pass commander. MOD shook his head. No, this humble general has come for medicine. He recounted how doctor whose letter had reached Yin Pass through his apprentice, how Li Xingzhan had brought it to him, how he had read it and made his decision. Zhao Su understood immediately. He had lent Allison to Doctor Who on impulse, to test it, to do something useful with it. He hadn't imagined it would travel 300 li to Yin Pass inside a week. This humble general is prepared to add this medicine to the military supply list and procure a batch from your highness, if it proves effective. MOD said it plainly, without softening. Military supplies. The words landed differently than MOD perhaps intended. Great Song's military expenditure had been climbing for decades. Constant border warfare, constant resupply. The contracts that fed that system went almost exclusively to merchants connected to powerful families. Ordinary people never touched them. And here was MOD, a general with a spotless reputation and genuine authority, sitting across from him and offering to open that door. Zhao Su had created the Allison to save the commander and protect his own army's future. He hadn't thought of it as a product. But if MOD vouched for it, if it was confirmed effective in the field by one of Great Song's most respected officers, it would spread through the military establishment on its own momentum. Every garrison, every field army would want it. The revenue would be enormous. And more importantly, it opened a channel he could use for other things later. He kept his expression measured. To be straightforward with the general, the commander was struck by 3 Northern D arrows a few days ago. It was this medicine that saved him. MOD looked at the commander. That is entirely true. The commander's voice carried the weight of someone who had been at the threshold and come back from it. Without His Highness's medicine, I would not be sitting here. MOD nodded slowly. He was cautious by nature. Military supply decisions could invite impeachment if anything went wrong. But between Li Xingzhan's report, Doctor Who's letter, and now the commander's testimony, his skepticism was running out of places to stand. This humble general has brought over 30 wounded soldiers with him. If your highness can save half of them, I will take your medicine into the supply list. On the road back to the manor, Zhao Su had noticed soldiers doubled up on horses, the rear riders slumped forward and tied to the men in front. He had guessed then. Now he knew. Agreed, he said. After the banquet, kept deliberately light, no one drinking heavily, Zhao Su led the group to the west courtyard where the wounded soldiers had been settled. 30 men, every one of them in serious condition, wounds already showing the familiar signs of infection that had nearly killed the commander. Redness, swelling, heat, suppuration. Some had gone further than that. He shook his head quietly. General Mo, if these 30 men had had their wounds cleaned with strong alcohol and received this medicine at the time of injury, most of them would already be back on their feet. He looked at the men without accusation. The conditions at Yin Pass make that difficult. I understand. The casualty rate from infected wounds in ancient warfare was staggering. Not because the injuries themselves were unsurvivable, but because the follow-up care was almost non-existent and the sanitation was terrible. Men who would have lived died by the hundreds from things that, with proper treatment, were manageable. MOD said nothing, watching Zhao Su move through the courtyard, directing the alcohol cleaning, the Allison application, the oral doses, with a physician's focus and a general's efficiency. It didn't look like performance. His confidence continued to build. 3 days later, Li Xingzhan found MOD in the guest house early in the morning. General, 5 of the wounded were too severely injured to be saved. The rest have improved. With continued treatment, they should recover without difficulty. MOD set down his book. He had been staying at the guest house deliberately, a request he had made to Zhao Su himself. A Yin Pass general meeting privately with an imperial prince would attract scrutiny from the imperial court. Normal interactions were fine, but he had no wish to be seen as overly intimate with the Yin prince. It would create problems for both of them. During those 3 days, he had listened instead. The guest house staff talked. Travelers talked. Word from the manor filtered through in pieces, the land redistribution, the tunnel system being dug across the countryside, the ordnance department activity, the merchant association, the fallen Huang and Du families. Every piece surprised him a little more than the last. Just as he said, used promptly, the medicine saves more. MOD rose. Let's go to the manor. Once we've settled the terms, we return to Yin Pass. In the reception hall, MOD came to the point quickly. His Highness's medicine has proven itself. This humble general will submit a memorial to His Majesty upon returning, recommending it. He smiled, then shifted tone. How does your Highness intend to sell it? Zhao Su had been ready for this conversation since the soldiers began recovering. To be honest with the general, the process requires the strong liquor produced here at the manor. The cost is not low. He held up a small porcelain bottle, slender-necked, roughly 100 milliliters. A bottle this size, one tael of silver. MOD nearly choked on his tea. He put the cup down carefully and looked at Zhao Su. He had, over the past several days, formed a genuinely positive impression of this young prince. Capable, clear-headed, focused on his people. Now he was discovering the man was also, apparently, a highway robber. Is it expensive? Zhao Su asked, with an expression of mild puzzlement that MOD found difficult to argue with. A soldier's monthly wage is 2 taels. 3 to 5 bottles saves a veteran's life. Can any amount of silver replace a man who has fought through 10 battles? You understand this better than anyone, General. MOD was silent. He did understand it. An elite soldier was years of investment, training, experience, institutional knowledge that couldn't be replaced from a recruitment pool. Losing men to infections from minor wounds was one of the most wasteful forms of attrition in any army. 1 to 2 taels per casualty saved was, when he looked at it that way, extraordinarily cheap. This humble general will need to report this to His Majesty first. If approved, Yin Pass will purchase in quantity. This prince can wait, Zhao Su said pleasantly. Imperial court approval meant imperial court visibility. The Allison would be discussed in the capital, evaluated by military officials, potentially adopted across multiple garrisons. The revenue potential was significant, and beyond the medicine, it established him as a supplier the military trusted, a foundation he could build on later. As for the price, he had set it deliberately high. Military procurement funds flowed from the national treasury. Better that silver went into the prince's manor's accounts than into the hands of powerful family merchants who had been feeding off military contracts for generations. MOD rose and bowed. Zhao Su returned it and walked him to the city gate himself. He watched the column disappear into the road dust and stood for a moment. Yin province had remained turbulent but unbroken for years, largely because this old general held Yin Pass. His presence had also created a deterrent. When Zhao Su was building the prince's guards, the fact that the powerful families had to consider Yin Pass in any calculation of open rebellion had bought him time. This visit was also not really about medicine. A general of MOD's standing didn't make a personal trip 300 li for a medical procurement. He had come to see for himself what the Yin Prince actually was, whether there was something worth knowing about, something that might matter if Yin Province fell into genuine crisis. The old general had not looked optimistic about Yin Province's long-term situation. That told Zhao Su something. As he turned from the gate, Lu Fu pointed down the main road. A line of donkey carts moved through the city entrance, piled high with iron ore. Behind them, people on foot carried limestone in baskets. Another cart column followed with coal. Sulai was already smiling. Your Highness's method is working. The Ordnance Department's supply problem has solved itself. Zhao Su turned his horse toward the merchant house. The building was quieter than usual. Most of the powerful family sons were still out working. He asked Accountant Chin for the running total. 130,000 taels disbursed so far. Zhao Su nodded. He felt no particular regret about the number. That silver was becoming iron, ore, limestone, and coal, which would become armor. The more the better. Dong-en and Yang he arrived shortly after, still arguing with each other as they came through the door. Admit it, the head position is mine. Call me Big Brother, and I might recommend you for deputy. You wish. I have a full boatload of coal arriving outside the city tomorrow. Count your losses now. They stopped the moment they saw Zhao Su and switched immediately to bowing and smiling. You both look confident, Zhao Su said. They exchanged a glance. Honestly, Your Highness, it's between the two of us. No cheating. Both heads shook with identical vigor. He asked them each a few questions about how they had approached the sourcing. As they spoke, the other powerful family sons filtered back in, most of them looking considerably more subdued than the two still competing enthusiastically in front of him. He would check with Su Ku and the Flame Guard tomorrow. But from appearances, Dong, Un, and Yang, he might actually have real commercial ability buried under the frivolousness. Tomorrow is the deadline, he said, standing. The positions will be decided then. At the Ordnance Department, Wang Ying met him at the entrance, practically vibrating with satisfaction. Your Highness, the storeroom is full. We have enough raw material to work without interruption. This humble official can now focus entirely on the techniques you've outlined. Lu Fu looked into the workshop at the crucibles and the molten steel and shook his head slowly, making small sounds of disbelief. He had privately maintained a low opinion of Wang Ying since the beginning. That opinion was having a difficult time surviving contact with reality. How is the crucible steel coming out? Zhao Su asked. He looked across the yard. The blast furnace poured liquid iron into the pool below. Craftsmen stirred it vigorously at the edges, the puddling process, burning off carbon to produce wrought iron. Then ceramic ladles transferred it into the graphite crucibles. When the time was right, the crucibles were poured into molds. The molds were wide ceramic plates. The shapes carved into their surfaces were small, slightly curved, like fish scales. Scale armor plates coming off the line. The Ordnance Department is already producing scale armor. Zhao Su looked at the small stack of finished plates beside the mold and felt the satisfaction of it settle in. He had been focused on wine revenue and land redistribution and village organization for weeks. The military side had been running in the background. Wang Ying working, the blast furnaces operating, the hydraulic hammers being installed. He had trusted the process. Now here was the result, tangible and stacked in a courtyard. Over 500 sets already sewn. Your Highness, Wang Ying said, already leading him toward the next courtyard. Inside, more than 200 women worked at wooden frames, scale plates hanging before them. Each woman threaded thick rope through the holes in the plates, attaching them to sleeveless garment liners, then connecting the plates to each other horizontally and vertically through secondary holes to create a unified surface. Nearby, completed arm guards and skirt guards lay in rows, designed to tie directly onto the body, quick to put on and take off. With over 200 workers, why only 500 sets in these past few days? Zhao Su asked. The assembly itself wasn't complicated. A skilled hand should manage several sets a day. The bottleneck was steel, Your Highness. The plates weren't available fast enough until the additional crucibles came online. Now that supply is caught up, the pace will increase considerably. Zhao Su nodded. Behind him, he noticed that Su Lai and the other guards had gone very quiet. He looked back. Every one of them was staring at the armor with the expression of men who had just realized something important. Your Highness, is this armor for the prince's guards? Su Lai asked, careful about how he phrased it. Zhao Su looked at what Su Lai was currently wearing. Imperial Guard armor, brought from the capital, once good quality, now showing its age. Plates peeling at the edges, gaps widening, the shapes inconsistent in width and thickness. The craftsmanship visibly rough compared to what was coming off the manor's production line. And that old armor was considered top tier in great song. If you want it, just say so, Zhao Su said. Pick a set each. The guards moved before he finished the sentence. Lu Fu watched them scramble and turned to Zhao Su with genuine curiosity. Every improbable thing this prince had produced so far had turned out to be exactly what he claimed. He had stopped doubting the pattern. How does this compare to the Imperial Guard armor? Your Highness. Easiest to just show you. Zhao Su had a guard set up an old armor piece on a crossed wooden stand, with a new scale set placed beside it for comparison. When Su Lai came back, cradling a silver finish set like something valuable, Zhao Su pointed to the range. 30 meters. Bow and arrow. Test both. Su Lai had picked the new armor because he wanted it, not because he thought his old set was inadequate. He knocked the first arrow with a slight proprietary confidence. 2 shots. 2 sounds. The first arrow embedded itself in the old armor. The second struck the new set and bounced off, clattering across the courtyard stone. Su Lai stared at where it had fallen. Then he jogged forward. Wang Ying and Zhao Su reached the stands first. The Imperial Guard armor, arrow fully through, the head buried half a finger's length into the backing material. The new scale armor, a dent. Circular, clean, nothing more. Your Highness, this is a completely different level, Wang Ying said, beaming. Now I understand what Your Highness meant by hard steel. Zhao Su explained it briefly for whoever was listening. Ancient armor plates were made from wrought iron, tough enough not to shatter, but soft. Cast iron was harder but brittle. It cracked under impact, which was why old cast iron cookware could be broken apart and sold as scrap. Steel occupied the middle, both hard and tough, but within steel there was a spectrum. High-carbon steel was hard steel. Low-carbon steel was softer. The crucible ratio he had given Wang Ying targeted high-carbon steel specifically, hard enough to resist penetration, but with enough toughness that it wouldn't fracture under a heavy blow-the-way cast iron would. Su Lai arrived at the stands and looked at the two pieces in silence for a long moment. Then he turned to look at the set in his hands. Around him, the other guards had clustered together, all talking at once. This armor is a treasure. Arrows bounce off it. Swords won't be any different. We don't have to fear their archers anymore. Zhao Su listened and thought of something. He turned to two guards still holding their new sets. Put them on. Full kit, body, arms, skirt guards. Then actually fight. Blades. He looked at Wang Ying. Helmets. Ready. Wang Ying had someone bring them immediately. The helmets were unlike standard designs. Most ancient helmets left the face entirely exposed. These covered the nose and cheeks, leaving only the eyes and mouth open. Cast from molten steel, then refined by hammering to fit cleanly. The two guards dressed themselves, plates clicking into place, arm guards tied, skirt guards secured, helmets on. The transformation was immediate. Two ordinary guards had become something that looked considerably more dangerous than what they'd been 30 seconds ago. The full coverage, the uniform gleam of the plates. It produced a pressure just to look at. Su Lai was watching with obvious eagerness. Your Highness, are we actually cutting? One of the two men in armor looked at his partner with a slightly uncertain expression. Start light. Increase the force as you go. You just seen what the armor can do. The guard nodded, raised a saber, and brought it down on his partner's shoulder at roughly half strength. The impact traveled back up through the blade into his palm like striking stone. He looked at his hand involuntarily. Then he stopped being careful and swung properly. The sound rang across the courtyard. A white mark appeared on the armor plate. The saber's edge had curled. The watching guards went completely silent. The sound of metal on metal rang through the courtyard for a quarter of an hour. When the two guards finally stopped, both were breathing hard. Neither had a mark on their skin. Both sabers were ruined, edges curled and notched beyond use. Zhao Su turned to Wang Ying. Silver if you need it, people if you need them. Full production. Every man in the prince's guards equipped within a month. Wang Ying hesitated. And the plate armor? That doesn't conflict. Once the hydraulic hammer is built, switch to plate armor and start replacing the scale sets. But my soldiers can't keep wearing inferior equipment in the meantime. Zhao Su paused. And in the future, this army may not stay at 20,000. Lu Fu caught that and let a quiet smile cross his face. Under Great Song law, a prince's fiefdom was capped at one prefecture. In practice, no prince had ever controlled a full prefecture. The highest anyone had reached was 5 commanderies. As a fiefdom expanded, so did the permitted size of the prince's guards. Zhao Su saying this now, in front of the Ordnance Department's courtyard full of finished scale armor, with blast furnaces running behind them, it landed differently than it would have 2 months ago. Lu Fu kept his expression neutral and said nothing. Back at the recuperation courtyard, Su Lai found the commander staring at the new armor with open desire. The Ordnance Department made that. My guards and I have all tested it. Su Lai turned around slowly, letting him see the full set from every angle. I don't believe it. The commander shook his head. You always pull tricks like this. Su Lai said nothing. He drew his bow, knocked an arrow, and shot the guard standing at the door. The commander lurched forward to stop him. Too late. The arrow hit the guard's chest and fell to the ground. That was a brand new set, the guard said, looking genuinely aggrieved. Now, there's a dent in it. Sulai scratched the back of his head. Sorry. Drinks tonight, I'll pay. The commander stood very still. Then he turned and walked away without a word, directly to find Zhao Su. He came back a few minutes later, satisfied, and began packing his things. Where are you going? Sulai looked alarmed. Your wounds aren't fully healed. 70% healed. His Highness has given permission, with conditions. The commander continued packing. I want to see my soldiers get their armor. That's all I'm doing. He had, by all accounts, worn Zhao Su down through sheer persistence, guaranteeing he would only supervise the equipping process and stay away from anything physically demanding. Zhao Su had agreed reluctantly. The commander left without looking back, moving faster than someone 7/10 healed had any right to. Sulai and the others watched him go and shook their heads together. That evening, Zhao Su sat in the study after dinner and let the accounts catch up with the reality. Scale armor was moving. The tunnel system was underway across the countryside. The militia units were forming. Wang Ying had steel coming out of crucibles. The flame guard was operational. The merchant house competition would resolve tomorrow. But a problem had been sitting at the back of his mind since the commander had returned half-dead on a stretcher. The prince's guards had almost no cavalry, and cavalry was the Northern D's primary weapon. Infantry against cavalry was a structural disadvantage. When a battle and the enemy simply rides away, overextend a supply line, and the enemy cuts it from the rear before you can react. Against a force built entirely around mounted warfare, the only viable strategy without your own cavalry was defensive, and defensive meant ceding the initiative entirely. A cavalry unit of 5,000 men would need at minimum 10,000 horses, 2 per rider at standard doctrine. War horses in Great Song ran 30 taels apiece. That was 300,000 taels before feeding costs, equipment, or training. He called Accountant Chin in. The picture that emerged: 30,000 taels from Jinling ice profits, 980,000 from wine, 200,000 confiscated from the Huang and Du families. Against that, the prince's guards' food and uniforms, the ordnance department's raw materials, the wine jar costs, the green ant wine purchases. After everything, 360,000 taels remained. Wine profit per jar after deducting costs was roughly 10 taels, not 15. A large portion of recent revenue had gone toward repaying the land exchange commitments to the powerful families. 360,000 taels was not enough for a cavalry force. He sent Accountant Chin back and leaned in his chair. The money-making operation couldn't slow down. It had to accelerate. The next morning, Fenger came in looking mildly exasperated. Your Highness, Dongan and Yang here both outside, both insisting on seeing you immediately. He had almost forgotten. Today was the day. After washing up and eating, he received them in the main hall. They had both arrived in bright red robes. Not quite wedding attire, but close enough to make the intention obvious. Anyone who didn't know would think you were both getting married today, Zhao Su said. Dong, Un, and Yang, he looked at each other and snorted simultaneously. He copies everything I do, Dong and said. You have no shame at all, Yang, he replied. We'll settle the argument after the positions are decided, Zhao Su said, before it could go further. Both fell silent immediately. The other powerful family sons filtered in over the next few minutes. Once everyone was seated, Zhao Su had them each write their totals on paper and submit them. Dong, Un, and Yang, he were clearly at the top. But Yang, he had come in just slightly below Dong. And he asked everyone to wait and went to find Su Ku. Dong, Un, Su Ku said. He didn't cheat himself, but his father quietly provided a batch of materials without telling him. So effectively, Yang he won on his own merit. Chai Wu confirmed it. Yang he relied entirely on his own contacts and persuasion. Not a single outside assist. Zhao Su stood with that for a moment, then almost smiled. Dong and had no idea his father had intervened. If he had known, he might have refused it, or he might not have. Either way, the result was clear. He went back in and announced the rankings. 3 names called out first: Li Qiao and 2 others, disqualified for cheating. Then the legitimate order. Yang He first, Dong in second. Second, Dong In's face cycled through surprise, disbelief, and indignation in quick succession. Your Highness, this must be wrong. The disqualified one started to object too. Zhao Su cut it short. Li Qiao, you privately arranged with a merchant to sell materials to you at a reduced price, with the difference to be paid back after the competition. Did that happen or didn't it? Li Qiao went still. Someone nearby seemed to have been watching him these past few days. He had been vaguely aware of it and dismissed it. Now he understood what it had been. He said nothing. The others who had cheated also found reasons to study the floor. Dong En, who genuinely hadn't cheated, pressed his case. Your Highness, I object. Why am I second?